Hello, everybody. I apologize. I am sorry. Um, Remember, this was supposed to be a hiatus weekend. Miss Stippling and I had already planned. We were gone during the day. Um, I was just so tired when I got home that I didn't watch the chat. I didn't take part in it. I didn't even watch the chat. That's how tired I was. We left early in the morning and we went out to the Philly area. We have a co-worker who, well, former co-worker, I should say, who lives in the Philly area. So we went out to her place, spent some time with her and her husband, and then we all went out to IKEA. And I'll tell you something, it was humorous. I could go to IKEA and people watch the entire day because it was so funny. We were walking around and you can see the couples. They're walking around and they're like looking at something and they're like debating over like, well, if we got this, we could put this here and we could do this with it. And it was just, you're married when when going to IKEA to buy stuff is a big deal. And just watching these people like, well, if we got like, it was almost like you could tell at one point this one couple was talking themselves into buying it. They were justifying why they should buy it and how like, well, if we did this with it, we could this, which enables us to do that. If we put this here, that gives us this. It was very entertaining. So it was, like I said, I could go to IKEA and we could people watch. We went primarily why we went is because Miss Sibling had the understanding that they had Halloween decor. And we all know how Miss Stippling loves to decorate for Halloween. So we went, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't find that there was a lot of Halloween stuff there. There was some stuff, and we got some stuff. I found a lot of it in the stuff that we got. I liked the stuff that we got, but overall, it was one of those where it's like, eh, I don't know. Whereas, like, was it worth the trip? Yes, it was worth the trip because of getting to see our friends and just spend some time walking around. And we actually did quite well. We didn't get too much stuff, but I think it was worth it. Just like I said, just people watching. It was very entertaining. With us, it was one of those where it was like we were looking at stuff and we were like, nope, we'll come back. We'll debate about it once we have a house. I mean, we the two of us said that a lot. Was when we have a house. When we have a house. So for us, it was one of those where it's like we'll definitely be the couple that does spends a lot of time, spends the entire day there debating. I mean, in fact, we've actually joked that once we have a house, we'll have to go to IKEA with a U-Haul truck with all the stuff we'll probably end up buying. So, but no, I was just so tired when I got back that I knew the show was about to start. Actually, no, the show had already started. Because the other thing also was I couldn't even like be a man of the chat last night because when we left here, Mrs. Stippling forgot to charge her phone, and we didn't take the highway, the turnpike. We took the back way, so she would use her GPS on her phone. So so her phone was dying by the time we actually got there. So before getting home, we were using my phone. And so even when by the time we got back into the area, that I could have taken the phone off of the stand mount and turned off the GPS. The show had already started. It was too far gone, and I was tired. So I'm sorry. I don't know how the book review for the Lost Pages went. I'm going to give you my review. It's not going to be a full blown review, but here's my take or the full take. Remember, last week I did go over a little bit of the Lost Pages with you guys, and I didn't give you a full review. Here's like kind of my, if I was on the show, this is what I would have contributed to the review. Okay. First and foremost, uh, it's a standalone story, which was great. I didn't need to have read all like three issues of the Lost Pages prior to that. Didn't need to read any of the supplementals or ash cans or any of that type of stuff to follow the story of Jazz and Crim. Okay, that was really good. That was a big plus. The second thing is that how it starts with that preview in the very start beginning, like a prologue, if you will, where you have Matt Black and the Silhouette introducing them. Uh, the book overall had a 90s Marvel Comics image feel to it, which was really good. I really liked that part also. So I just, again, I just really liked that. I thought it was, it added to the strength of the book, of not having to have read the first three issues. I could follow along with what was going on right off the bat. And like I said, in the beginning, you have Matt Black and Silhouette, and then you have Wildcard at the very end. Also, like the fact that he had like dossier pages, like Marvel handbook pages of different characters, so you could get caught up on these characters without having read any of the books. So I just enjoyed it. I mean, um, remember last week when I said about like that opening shot? It was a double page spread. Had Krim on her motorcycle with her mask up, and I'm sorry, Jazz was, and then Krim was like painted as a graffiti on the wall. Um, that page, okay, like I said, in my brain, I heard Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart, SOS, Girls, Girls, Girls. As Phil said, and someone else in the chat when I was chiming in on his show on Friday or during the week when he was doing the video of unboxing Michael Bancroft's Lucent. Uh, yeah, that's what I felt. It felt like I was watching it. It was pulled. I just the feel of Jazz with her costume and the attitude. It felt like if you could put that, like especially now these days, like people can take images and like slightly animate them. You could take a 80s heavy metal glam band song and sync it up to it, and you'd feel like you're watching a music video. Okay, that's how it felt. And I'll say, jazz, jazz to me is the Diaz brothers have found for their universe. They found their She-Hulk character, their Power Girl character. That's who it is. She's confident. She's not ashamed of her body. She doesn't look at. She doesn't. She dresses sexy, but she's not. She doesn't portray herself as a sex symbol, which was really good. It reminded me, like I said, She-Hulk. It was the She-Hulk from the John Byrne era, not the She-Hulk attorney at law. No, no, not that piece of shit. She-Hulk. We're talking John Byrne. She-Hulk. That's who Jazz reminds me of. So, but no, I just very good. I mean, the I would say if I had a criticism of the book, and it's really not a major criticism, but this is a something that I see not just of the Diaz brothers, but every creator is they want to give us our money's worth, so they give us perfect bound books, which is nice, but the thing is though is it doesn't work well when you're doing if you're doing a splash page of just one image of a big fight scene, good. But when you start including other panels in it, because okay, a floppy is like this when you unfold it. Okay, and you can have like 18 panels on there, and it still reads as a double page spread. When you have now these pinkies are at the where the fold is. In a bound book, it's more like this. Okay, and there's at least one double page spread, maybe two. Because of that, it read to me, and I read it, and it wasn't until after I read the whole both pages I was like, oh, this is a double page spread, and I had to go back and reread it. Okay, that's like my only real, and it's nothing against the Diaz brothers. It has to do with the crowdfunding and everybody doing crowdfunding with perfect bound. We don't get that, and it's we don't get that really with floppies. Okay, and now that was the other thing also is that I know again these creators want to give us their money's worth, so there'll be times where they will have. I'm going to work down here. See here. Let's put this in up here so you can see. This is the water here. So, but no, I know they want to give us their money's worth, so they'll give us like this comic is 64 pages. This comic book is 86 pages. This is 100. The problem I'm having with so many people doing these books with so many pages is I get bogged down, and sometimes it's a struggle to finish reading the book. Um, and I was, but the Diaz brothers did have page breaks. I could tell where I was getting to the point where it's starting to get bogged down, and then there was a break. They did such a break, so you could tell that this is where if they were doing this as a floppy comic, this is where you'd have your cliffhanger. This is then where the next issue would start. So I did kind of like that because that way it's forward thinking for them. That way, if they get themselves in position, let's say Dark Horse Comics contacts them like, hey, we see that you got about a year's worth of books here. Would you like to reprint your Lost Pages books through us? Because that's a year's worth of books. And it gives them the ability to, okay, we can produce a year's worth of floppies and we have our page breaks for issues. So this Crimstone story of Lost Pages 3, it can be two, maybe three issues of page breaks. So, because that's the one thing I'm appreciating floppies more now because you can read it. You get to the end, and it's like, okay, I'll continue next month. I understand where, because with crowdfunding they don't do that, but in some ways it's like sometimes these stories, and like I said, it's not the Diaz brothers specifically, but some of these stories I'm kind of like, this is like too much. I need a break, and whenever I get to where I go, okay, I'm gonna stop here. I'll come back, and I don't. So, but I know that's something that I don't know if how much that gets addressed. But I did like how it's like you. I was getting to the point where I was getting bogged down. Oh, there's a break here. Okay, good. Now I can. Okay, I'll keep reading because I know I didn't read the Lost Pages all at one shot. I set it down, and I think it was like I did it in two readings. But but no, I liked it. I liked the book, liked the story. Um, the other thing also that I really liked was how Jazz has her mask is the handkerchief that she pulls up, and I looked at that and I'm like, you know what? That is future merch for the Diaz brothers. I don't maybe it may not do that great at at the crowdfunding level, but if they're doing shows, okay, now hear me out here. If they're doing shows where they're wanting to introduce their book to people that don't do crowdfunding, okay, so they're at a show and they've got a big banner of that double page spread of Jazz with Crimstone, and they just have that page of Jazz on a banner. at sexy woman with the handkerchief, with the goggles, with across the top says jazz, lost pages. Okay, that type of imagery is going to draw non-crowdfunders up to their table to be like, hey, what's this? Hey, who's she? What's this about? Gives them the opportunity to sell their book, but also, what do we have a lot of at these shows? We got a lot of cosplayers. So I can see a lot of cosplayers going, oh, who's this? Oh, I can see myself cosplaying as this jazz character, which at that point they're like, oh, hey, you like cosplaying. If you would want to cosplay as our character, you gotta have the handkerchief. They'd have handkerchiefs there to sell that the person can put it on right there and then, pull it up to their nose, have it hanging down. Remember, got to wear our masks. Well, hey, you don't have a mask? We've got a handkerchief. And next thing you know, they've got a dozen kids or a dozen people walking around their show wearing their sunglasses with that handkerchief hanging down in front of their face. So I can see uh, Jazz with that handkerchief with the print on it. I can see that being a possible future uh, merch for that would do well with the Diaz brothers. So, but so I that was pretty much all I'd really want to can't talk about with the lost pages. I mean, those are the main points. Like I said, beginning, middle, and end. Um, Krim, I mean, just like the Lobo character, completely out of control. I liked how like he had his own fight in the dream world. I guess that's what you call it, the dream world. He had that his own dilemma to fight while she was fighting in the real world, and then of course her overcoming her fears and him and the two of them coming together to defeat the bad guy at the end. I know I'm starting to talk. It's because of this area here I'm working on, so it takes concentration. So I'm not really getting into it, but no, with these books that are so long, uh, it's and again not just the Diaz brothers, but some of these some of these books I think would do better, especially with the printing quality being as high as it is. There's nothing wrong with having a floppy, having a 48 page floppy. Think about Ethan when he did his second Cyberfrog book. I thought it did much better as a floppy. Now he did because he was doing the chromium cover, but I thought it worked out much better as a. Like I said, I thought it did much better as a floppy because of so many double page splashes, and they weren't uh, interfered with by Perfect Bound. So, but guys, I'm going to keep working here. I got to focus on that, which is not going to be fair to you guys. So, I want you all to have a great Labor Day. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll do a video tomorrow. I have got an idea of what I want to talk about. Remember, last Sunday I went to the Harrisburg show, the Harrisburg Comic Con. So I'll talk about that when I tomorrow's video. But until then, guys, you guys enjoy your Labor Day. Enjoy your hot dogs, your hamburgers, uh, imbibing if you imbibe. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. But until then, remember, life is stressful. Just take it all one dot at a time.